The key point coming out of this trip is that Singapore and Mexico are investing in a stronger relationship with each other, a stronger and trusted relationship with each other in an unstable and unpredictable world. That instability and uncertainty in the world is likely to be with us for some time, but stronger bilateral relationships, stronger relationships between our two regions are one way of providing for greater resilience in an unstable world. And that's the key point that comes out of this trip. The other key outcome is the strengthening of relations. I had 3 sets of discussions with President Claudia Sheinbaum, very good meeting of minds on both the general orientation that our two countries should take, but also the specific opportunities we can work on together. As she put it, to work pragmatically on specific opportunities. I met with business leaders, I met with governors of individual states, and there was just great enthusiasm to strengthen that Singapore-Mexico relationship. The business community is keen. We had a Singapore Business Federation and Singapore Manufacturing Federation delegation. They met with their Mexican counterparts, and in fact there was tremendous interest on the part of the Mexican businesses to want to work with Singapore. The opportunities in Mexico are large. We've just seen the wonderful Somos Pacifico exhibition about the old Manila galleon trade, exporting silver from Acapulco to Manila, from there to China, to Southeast Asia, and in return, Mexico receives spices and silk. That was 500 years ago. It's now new forms of silver, trade and investment in advanced manufacturing, investing in clean energy, in ports and infrastructure, in the digital transformation that both our countries are going through, including the AI transformation, and very importantly too, agri-food, which is a key priority for Singapore. Food security for Singapore is important, and Mexico has something to offer. So what is interesting about Mexico is that it's a very diverse economy. They're actually a very lucky country because they've got resources. They now have advanced manufacturing that's been spurred on by the US-Mexico-Canada agreement, the USMCA. They are well positioned in Latin America as well to now exploit the greater regionalization of supply chains within Latin America. But what came through very much in all the meetings is we want to recreate Somos Pacifico, recreate the trade and investment flows and the flows of people across the Pacific. You have to remember that when we think of investment in Mexico, it's a large country. It's about 3,200 kilometers long. At its widest, it's almost 2,000 kilometers. It is a country of states, and the states have some autonomy. So when businesses think of investing, they're investing in states and in fact in cities and centers within states. And the diversity of Mexico means that it's got everything from middle-skilled industries to the most advanced industries. They've got highly sophisticated industries. If you look at Monterrey in Nuevo León in the north, it's a formidable center for automotive and heavy industry manufacturing. If you look at the Silicon Valley of Mexico, Guadalajara in Jalisco, it's it's as advanced as any other hub for semiconductor production in the world. If you look at Querétaro, if you look at Chihuahua, all very advanced. So Mexico, if you look at it as a whole, it looks like a typical developing country with low skill and middle skill activities, middle income country. But it has, in fact, centers which are far more advanced than that, far more sophisticated. And that's where they see a lot of opportunity to work with us, because Singapore is seen as a very advanced center for both manufacturing, commerce, and finance. And they see a lot of complementarity in working together with us. We see advantage in Mexico because it's a gateway to the North American market as well as Latin America. They also see advantage in us because we are a gateway to Southeast Asia and to some extent to other parts of the Asia Pacific. So the complementarity is also in now being able to exploit these new sea lanes that we're creating across the Pacific. I've done several state visits, and this is the latest. I think what comes through consistently is the very high regard that countries have for Singapore, both their political leaders and their business leaders, and they're wanting to work with Singapore. So when we talk in Singapore about diversifying our networks in an unstable world, they see merit in that diversification involving partnerships with Singapore. They see real value in Singapore. But we've also got to have some humility about that, because the know-how that Singapore is admired for is not unique to Singapore. It's not invented in Singapore. The Singapore know-how was always an amalgam of know-how from different parts of the world. From our first days, from our very first days, we were importing the best ideas, the best firms, and taking in advice from people from all over the world. And that continues till today. So when we talk about working with Mexico or India or Egypt or any country, when we talk about strengthening relations in the current environment, we are also talking about a partnership that involves a two-way flow of know-how and intelligence and ideas. And that too will strengthen Singapore. The Singapore know-how will grow. We've got our own brand to it, but it was always an approach that absorbed the best ideas from others. And when you truly look at the diversity of Mexico, they've got deep pools of STEM talent, which they get both from amongst Mexicans, but actually from all over the world. If you visit the places I was talking about, deep pools of STEM talent. So we too will gain. We too will gain not just from market access and by being able to support our food security ambitions, we'll also gain in ideas. So that's what I would say I get a takeaway from my state visits, that it's a desire to work with Singapore, but it's also the way in which Singapore keeps expanding its know-how and its own ability to keep an edge by actually taking the best of ideas from the rest of the world.